Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Marvin Crazy Corporate Straight Jacket Communications, also author of How to Find Success by Losing Your Mind. I'm happy to say it will in the next couple of days, it ought to be found on Amazon and finally reach Amazon. How to Find Success by Losing Your Mind, the art of being crazy, or you gotta be crazy. The reason I'm saying that, because I want to talk specifically to you, the listeners, right now. And I want to ask you, what is it that you want? Now, what is it in terms of your ultimate dream? I'm talking about your dream of dreams, your dance of dances, and your song of songs. What is it that you ultimately want for your family, for your fortune, and for your future? What is it that you can envision for your life, for your family, for your well-being, for your security, whether it's financial or just emotionally? What is it that you really, if you allowed yourself to really dream, to really get involved and to really put some effort into it, and there were not the barriers and the boundaries that we all know or we all acknowledge and make such real monsters that it really exists. One of my favorite, my mentor and one of my favorite speakers, motivational speakers, is Les Brown. And he said a quote that changed my life. Well, it would have changed my life had I acted on it. But now I'm acting on it, so I guess it does change my life. And he went on to say that the easiest thing he had ever done in his life was to create $1 million. He said that was the easiest thing he ever did, to go on the den speech of Fortune 500 companies around the world. He said that was the easiest thing. But he said the hardest thing to believe was that he could do it. Now, the easiest thing he could believe was to do it, but the hardest thing he was to believe that he could. Now, that's astounding. Now, what if it's that same case with you and I? Think about it. Anything why we want for our lives. We want $1 million, $5 million. We like a mansion on a hill. We like to be married to the gorgeous woman or man, depending on your own species, your own gender. Um, we'd like uh, to maybe travel the world. We'd like to sing for a living, dance for a living, write for a living, and to make a nice income. I mean, such a comfortable income that you can go abroad and you can not worry about the lights being off when you get back and your things be on the side of the street. A whole different lifestyle than the majority of people. It is said that the majority of us, 80% or 80 something percent, is two paychecks away from homelessness. Now, I didn't make this up. You've heard this pretty much your whole life, and we know of these statistics, these realities, these uh, these mindsets. But if you allowed yourself just for a moment or two to get past that, what would you envision for yourself? What would you like for yourself? What would you fantasize? I guess I would say, for the lack of a better word, for yourself, for your family, for your fortune, and for your future. Would you be wealthy and then allow uh, uh, go to churches or organizations, hospitals, or uh, speak to the homeless or to help the homeless in some sort of way, to help amputee victims, or whatever it is, to help people with low self-esteem, or to sing to the elderly, to sing to uplift the world? Would you do comedy to spread around the world to cause people to see that there is laughter and humor in life? And would you do those things? Well, here it is that you can do it. And not only can you do it, you must do it. But just like Les Brown said, the easiest thing he ever did, what if the easiest thing you could have ever done was to show up? To show up and give it everything you got with everything that you are to everyone that you know for the next 60 days, the next 6 months, the next 6 years. And it would guarantee that you achieve that goal. Would you do it? Well, I'm glad you answered yes, because that's where we are. Welcome to How to Find Success by Losing Your Mind. Just do it. This is Marvin Creighton Crawford, and what I my goal, my own personal goal, is to gain the attention of 100,000 people, 100,000 people. And the reason I gave myself that number because it was a number that scared the hell out of me. And I found out what 90% of people are doing and run like hell in the opposite direction anyway. It's not working. It's not working because we're afraid and we are taught not to say we're afraid. We're weeping, we're crying, we're dying from homelessness and malnutrition. How many people, or how many times yourself, have you said, I need to go to the doctor, but I'm not going to go because I can't afford it right now? In America, are you kidding? Are you kidding? You mean to tell me that that's the kind of reality that we have for ourselves in a place where other people are literally making rafts just to get to this country, just to get to this land? And risking life, limb, and persecution, and coming here. And you mean to tell me we have excuses as to why we're not giving up our all, why we're not uh, uh, famed speaker just passed away a few years ago. Jim Rohn said, speaking about the animal kingdom, he said, uh, when a bird flies south for the winter, how far south does it go? When you put a seed in the ground, I want you to visualize this. When you put a seed in the ground, how far does the roots go down? And when it grows and breaks surface, how far do the branches reach out? How high does it grow? The answer is surprisingly simple. All the way, all the way. We can learn everything we need to learn from a seed. We can learn everything need to learn from birds. When a pig gets in the mud, does it stick its one hoof in? No, it gets all the way in, and yet you and I, he goes on to say that you and I are the only creatures that won't put ourselves in all the way. We won't get all in. We won't go all in. Gary Vee often says we have one time at bat, just one time at bat. We won't give it all up. We won't swing with all that we have because we're afraid of people laughing. We're afraid of looking foolish. We're afraid of missing and falling on our face when the greater reality is the possibility of knocking it out of the park. We might miss, we might get ridiculed, but to knock it out that park one time and to hear the roar of the crowd, to see the satisfaction of the face of the audience that you were intended to hit and impact and touch and move, that one time at bat is worthy of any failure, any criticism, any doubt, any fear that you and I can ever encounter in this lifetime. You've heard it here first. We live in the greatest time in human history, and it's only getting greater. Yes, you want to look at the negative. Yeah, there's some things happening that we didn't quite hear about before, but there's nothing new under the sun. What are you going to grab? The whole or the donut? This is Marvin Crazy Crawford. I say let's find success by losing your mind. Let's get out of here. I'm looking for 100,000 people. I'm looking for your input, and I'd like to give you my input when it comes to you going after your 100,000 or your audience or your dance or your speech or whatever it is you're after. Let's get going because I'm remembering this. You gotta be crazy.